This is Due by Friday, the weekly challenge podcast with Merlin Mann, Alex Cox, and Max Temkin. This week's challenge, form a habit.
Hello.
Hello, Merlin Mann.
Hello.
Hi. Hey.
Now, did you read Cory Doctorow's travel post that he did today? Because this motherfucker he travels with his own borax, and he's washing his underpants in the hotel sink with borax.
Why is borax suddenly a huge theme in my life? That God.
Because it's also in your slime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, is that what he said? I might have been mixing that up. He travels with some sort of laundry product, and he fucking washes his socks in the sink and hangs them up to dry. And I was like, Cory, I said, why don't you just have the hotel do the laundry? Like, it's expensive, but like if you're traveling for business, like A, you can write it off and expense it or whatever, but B, it's like, what about your time? And
what about your life?
Yeah, you're just like the dignity of not having to wash your underpants in the hotel sink, and you leave them up for the
I did a quick search on Cory Doctorow underwear. Where should I go to see his borax hacks?
It was a Boing Boing post.
Oh, it's a Boing Boing post.
And it was this morning, and there was great travel advice. He travels a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what he said is he is on a different flight every day. So he flies to a city, does a book event.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next flight. And he's like, at that pace, there's no hotel. The hotel can't keep up because the earliest they can bring it to you is 9 a.m. the next day, and he's already has to be on his flight, so he doesn't have any options.
So do I now have you on record as saying that we can expense laundry to a hotel for
if you're traveling for enough days that you can't...
So over 7 days.
Yeah, basically. I never pack more than... I don't even have a suitcase big enough to hold more than 7 outfits. So if we go somewhere for longer than a week, I always expense the laundry. The only thing you have to be careful of, I don't know if you've ever explored the exciting world of hotel laundry, but the default thing that they do if you just shove everything in a bag is they fucking dry clean it, and then they send you a bill, and they're like $18. We dry cleaned.
That's how they get you. They're fucking you. Mm-hmm.
You get fucked so bad, and I don't want to be fucked. They dry clean each individual sock, and they're like $18 per sock. We dry cleaned it, so you have to specify on the form very clearly: do not dry clean, do not press, simply fold and dry. And then they do it by weight, and it's egregiously expensive, but it's not it's like as compared to doing it at home or going to the laundromat. But what about your time when you're traveling?
Yeah, don't worry. For the past 3 years, I have been indeed, not like socks and underwear, but washing T-shirts in showers of hotels.
No, you have not.
Yeah. Well, because I can't. It's just too much.
Can't you just pack more? Can't you bring more, for days?
Well, here's the thing, Merlin. I do have a giant suitcase, but that's also filled with stuff we can't ship because it's like electronics
Alex's
and stuff like
bag
that.
is 90% filled with USB-C dongles.
Yeah. You got all the batteries.
Can you describe your cord organizer pouch? Because I've had to go in there, and it's like gazing into the eye of madness.
Yeah, it's I call it the dongle daddy. I have appropriated daddy for this purpose, and
Nice.
I have literally trained our other members of my team, as well as whenever we work with somebody on a show, okay, here is where this is, here is what there's a printed guide of this is what dongle you need for if you have a PC, if you have a Mac, if you have a 2017 Mac that is USB-C. It's quite a system. Some people do show up with just an iPad, and I'm like, okay, I guess I gotcha. And every show you go to, the AV setup is completely different, and it's 99% of the time it's absolutely
Alex,
terrible.
You have dongles though. If someone shows up with like a Tandy, you can hotwire it into the system.
We had to do it. There was a theater that had VGA cable, and I'm like, all right, glad that I ordered this from Acre.
It is truly crazy. It's one of those elastic grid organizer things, I think, but it's in a zippered pouch. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those grids.
I have one of those with the little rubber bandies.
I do not. I know that's the number one travel dingus organizer. I do not. I own. Let me tell you something. I own every brand of. I bought one of every travel cord organizer, and they're all pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the grid one is especially bad because there's no. What I need. Here's the issue: is if I need my micro USB cable or whatever when I'm traveling, I don't want to fucking unzip 7 pouches and look through it like a Where's Waldo trying to find the cord that I need. Like, it has to have some sort of system where you can see everything. And those elastic grid things, it's all chaos in there.
I mean, yeah. Well, I thought you had the new system now where you just literally bring your desk with you. So you just plop your desk on the hotel. Don't you got?
Yes. Oh, I bought.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I'm traveling as soon as I'm going on a car trip. Like, literally the minute we're done with this podcast, I'm off, and I'm taking for a spin for the inaugural spin, the Merlin Mann Red Ox caddy, the organizer caddy.
Oh, that's so nice. I hope that works out for you.
I got the snaps and everything now. I went with a different style than you did. I got the red one. It's like a bright red, like a blood red color. And here's my thinking is the whole point of this is your bulwark against insanity. You have it out. You can find all your stuff. I want it high vis. I want to be able to see it.
That's super smart. I use the cautionary yellow. But I think you're going to enjoy that. Listen, I don't know if there's any way we get somebody to sponsor this. I think Corey's basically just showing off in this post, which is fine. But I would like to get some kind of a sponsor to buy everything that he's mentioned in here. And I want us to wear all of it. And I want us to try all of it. I want these so you can get these low-rise boxer briefs that Cory Doctorow wears. You can get his pants that have a discreet thigh pocket for your boarding pass. And I really want these Native Jefferson's children's shoes. Did you see
shoes.
Those? Those are really pretty.
Listen, let's just acknowledge that Corey's not interested in fitting in with the human masses, and he's truly has an extreme need for the gear that he buys, and he doesn't. Corey's not about him. Like, no, I mean I agree actually. Like, listen, if I was as committed to the sort of like philosophical underpinnings of this lifestyle of like have one pair of shoes and it's got to be the best one and last forever and work in every situation, and I don't care about fitting in, like I'm not primarily buying them to look cool, like that probably is the right pair of shoes to buy. Yeah. But I'm a cuck. I don't want anyone to look at me and think that I have the wrong kind of shoes.
Yeah, a lot of Amazon links.
Okay, hold on. We're good. I'm gonna backpedal a little bit then. Max, you've recently purchased the slipper shoes, haven't you?
Slipper shoes?
Don't you have slipper shoes now?
Yeah, I wear Toms like every day. I love my Toms, but I more or less have to get a new pair every summer because they sort of disintegrate and smell like feet.
Well, that's what I do. Every year I buy a new pair of Nike Frees at whatever like town we're having a convention in, and then those are my shoes for the year, and then they're disgusting and I throw them away.
Nike Frees. Those like sugarless? What is a Nike Free?
No, it's Nikes for men.
Oh, I see.
Diet Nikes, but
Nike
the
Zero.
male brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not about email. Native Jeffersons, you carry Tabasco sauce. And, okay. Oh, this is good. This is handy.
How often do you replace your Crocs, Merlin?
I don't wear Crocs.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was wrong.
I recently bought a new pair.
Wait a minute. You're making fun of Corey for wearing his Crocs?
I don't have a blog post with a link to Amazon.
But you're talking about it right now on the podcast.
You're talking about it. It's your words.
No, you're bragging about it to both of us. You're like,
I still have the Crocs I was wearing when my daughter was born. I bought a new pair that I was going to keep mostly for inside work. But yeah, I'm wearing some right now. They're professional Crocs. They're not like those nasty ones you see people wear at the Target. These are professional Crocs. These are like nurse shoes. They're real bulbous.
We have a Crocs store in downtown Chicago, and I had Crocs for gardening when I was a kid, and I just keep thinking, like, no one would see me in my house. No one would know. No one's gonna.
They're perfect for wearing around the house. I don't wear them out of the house. I mean, I'm wearing them today to walk to my office, which is close enough. But no, I don't wear them to places. I don't wear it like these pants that I'm wearing right now. I would never wear these to pick up my daughter because it's really there's like a sartorial holocaust happening on my body right now. Very bad.
No, Mack Weldon. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm wearing no, look, right here. No, I got Mack Weldon right up here. Every day. Long sleeve Pima, cotton, boom, out the door. Yeah. I think you got to be comfortable and you got to learn. You know what I'm saying? You got to work the list. Did you make a list at all? For this trip, Max?
No, like I said, I have one of everything that I need to travel, and it lives in my suitcase. So when all I need, and I have the travel, and I have cubes, I have packing cubes, And so when I travel, all I do is I remove the packing cubes. I fill them with the appropriate clothes that go in that cube type. So I have a t-shirt cube and a pants cube and an underpants cube. And then I put the cubes into my Zuka and I zip it up and I leave. And then I have a little dop kit and I have an extra of everything. Yeah, I have a dop kit. And I have and then I just drop that into the suitcase and I'm good to go.
These off-the-grid pants are actually pretty badass and not very expensive.
See, you're making fun of the Crocs. You're making fun of the off-the-grid pants. Let me tell you, though, negative review from Corey. He said that they do not hold their color if you wash them in the hotel sink with borax.
Oh, it's a little racist. A little bit racist. Yeah, I would get those. They don't have my size. They don't. They must be doing like a closeout. Final sale, no returns or exchanges. Oh, I think these are going out. I think they're going. Oh, they got a hammer loop. That's handy. I'm gonna put my hammer in there. You can even do a little yoga in them, Cory Doctorow says. It's kind of like EFF meets Goop. How you guys doing?
What a fucking this week was too much. The
Yeah.
healthcare vote. You had Scaramucci.
Right. Yeah, we recorded not long before the vote.
It was too much. The news was. I mean, this has got to be. Did you read that Washington Post oral history of the Scaramucci era?
No, not yet.
I highly recommend it. It's very, very good, and it's just quotes from people involved in these news stories and news people and whatever, kind of talking through the events of the last week. And as you read them, you're like, there was so much shit that happened last week. Any one of these things would have been like a defining scandal for Obama. You know, getting into a feud with the Boy Scouts, or saying that the White House is a dump, or losing a historic healthcare
real
vote.
dump.
He was picked a Twitter fight with the Attorney General. I mean, it's bonkers, and it all happened in 1 week. This isn't even a year of the Trump presidency. It's a fucking week. Oh my God.
Did you read the read the transcript? The latest transcript?
The transcript of what?
The Maggie Haberman interview?
No, the more recent one, which I guess got leaked to Politico. Full transcript. Trump's Wall Street Journal interview.
Oh, yeah, I got through about half. And
It's got some moments. It's really.
What are the? I haven't read this yet.
Well, here's how it starts. So it's Trump sitting down with. Oh God, I just used that phrase. It's Trump being interviewed by Gerard Baker. So here's how it begins. Yes, says Baker. Trump. Tax. Other things. Baker says, yeah. Economy, trade, fate of the world economy, market. And Trump says, as we speak. Baker, consumer confidence at a 17-year high. Trump says, what did you say? Baker says, consumer confidence at a 17-year high. Can you believe it? Isn't that nice? There's a good reason for it, too. And I think we're doing very well in healthcare. We'll see. That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
The Boy Scout one in here is pretty... It's so strange to me. You just keep thinking... it's not going to go, and then it goes. And let me find you his Scout remarks. Yeah, that was an incredible crowd.
I purchased and used a nose hair trimmer this week.
Electronic?
Electronic. What do you mean What do you mean analog nose hair trimmer?
Well, Cory Doctorow's on Etsy buying vintage pajamas. I thought maybe you were going out and getting a bespoke gentleman's hair trimmer.
Some sort of hand crank mechanism? How would that even work?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd need a partner.
Well, so I just bought it. I just got it.
This one looks like a little dildo, and it's got a little plastic cover, and it goes zzz.
Yeah, it sounds like a cordless. It sounds like a shitty cordless drill.
I think I have one here. Let me see.
Now, I had a couple of rogue nose hairs that I couldn't sort of extract with my fingers, and I was at sea, and I've had this going on for a while, and you get to be 30, and the nose hairs get out of control.
Oh, bro,
and I was
just
at
you
CVS,
wait.
and I saw the ear and nose hair trimmer, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for this for $8 or whatever.
Oh.
So it took me a while to figure out how to use it because it's not.
I'd be happy to
intuitive.
tutor you on it. There is a methodology.
Well, okay. Well, the first thing first of all, you look into this thing and it just has like a spinning little blade in there, just going whoosh, and it does not seem safe to. You don't want to get lacerated. You don't want to tear up the inside of your nostril like ground beef. Like that's.
Make sure the battery, get a fresh battery in there,
Okay.
And then what you're going to do, you think it's going to be like mowing a large lawn. It's not like mowing a large lawn. It's like mowing more like a square foot of grass, but the grass is very, very hardy. So you want to kind of gently move it in and out like you're pleasuring a lover.
That's okay. Good. That's what I figured out. I did.
And then
I
for
had
the
this
ears,
sort
same deal with the ears.
of, no, I don't have any ear hairs going on yet, so I don't need to worry about that. But eventually, what I figured out with the nose was sort of a jabbing motion where you go like
Yeah.
and that sort of grinds it. It kind of grinds the little hairs down, and then afterwards, I blew my nose.
Blow your nose and you
it
get all
was
the
just
bits.
it was just like gunpowder coming out.
Yeah.
It was just like a cloud of black. But okay, here's the weirdest thing: is if I press on my nostril, if I sort of compact my nostril, I can feel the little
You got a zit?
shards, like no, not a zit, but I have like a stubbly.
You got a
nose
stubble
hairs.
nose.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
stubble
it's
nose.
like feeling like after like a 3-day shave. I can press it in, I feel the little shards. It's very weird.
Dude, and what's fun is, all right, hold on. Why
Yeah.
don't you guys just like get a tweezer in there and just rip everything
Well,
out?
I've pulled
My
on the
God.
previous occasions that I've had a nose hair that was noticeable. I just went in there with my fingers and I got the job done.
You do a little pinch.
That's
You do a
very
pinch and a pull.
impressive.
Pinch and a pop.
You just pull it right out, and it's like your eyes water, and it's kind of. I feel
That's like
I
watching
feel-
Doctor Who.
you
It feels
guys
really
are just
good.
big babies. Just
I feel
get in
very
there and rip
masculine.
them out. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't get to them all.
You got a lot. You got a lot. You're very angry about body hair removal, Alex. I just want to say, you and your people. What is it with you and body hair removal? Why don't you just stop doing it?
Well, ew. No, okay. Oh man, I should pull up my Tumblr messages about how I'm not a feminist because I don't enjoy.
I
be a
didn't
hairy
say that.
human.
I'm not Tumblr. I'm your pal.
No. You're not. You are
just
not
keep
Tumblr.
throwing- you keep
You're
throwing
not
hair in
Tumblr.
my face.
I'm
You have a
just
lot of
really
body
angry.
horror,
I'm
and
just
you like
very
pain.
Angry.
Yeah.
No. Well, there's a lot of there are a lot of procedures, and I just you just get a pair of tweezers and rip it out.
I couldn't. I'm telling you, I.
That's
it's
mental.
Too many.
That is
It's
for nose
No,
hair.
it's-
That's
no,
crazy.
it's not.
Too many.
Okay, so you're pulling out more than 10 nose hairs. Are you talking about the kind where you get out a booger or a clot that's got like 11 hairs in it and it looks like a rat king? You ever get one of those? Because you're not gonna with the tweezer. You can get started on there. I'm talking about marketing at scale. I'm talking about really getting in there.
How does it scale?
You got to scale it up.
Right now, I've so there's this thing where
You got to build for 10x.
Polish ladies have a lot of hair, and so not right now. I wouldn't say my nose is uncurling. This is horrible.
No, this is what
there's
people tune in for.
another thing- Yeah, like when the thing is though, when you have allergies and then you got that stubble, which is why plucking is superior because you get less stubble.
Now I'll pluck an eyebrow.
I'll pluck an eyebrow any day.
It's
I don't even
different.
need a
I'm
reason.
telling you, it's different. I don't want to be rooting around in there with the tweezers one by one, getting these little nose hairs.
Well, it's
out.
like cooking
too
your
much.
pasta one strand at a time. It's mental balls. You got to get all the way in there. Gio. And if you got a couple little rogues, you go after them. They call it mopping up.
But
What
if you
do
have
people
so
want us? What do
few-
people want us to talk about on this podcast? Do they want us to do some fucking Scaramucci joke like, "Oh, he sounds like the Queen song"?
He wears ladies' glasses.
Go on Twitter if you want.
No,
if you want
don't
shitty
even look.
political
No
jokes.
Yeah, can you do the Fandango? That's
Oh.
really funny. Oh my God,
Oh, Scaramucci! I thought you said.
I read that as
Scary munchies.
Katie Tur did that yesterday, and I was so sad. Katie Tur, don't do that. Don't do the I read that as. Don't do that. You're better than that, Katie. Katie Tur.
Dub Friday.
So
did you hear okay, so I'm not generally a fan of like podcasts where they interview interviewers, but there I forget it. Jesse
Katie
Thorne
Couric.
show where
Katie Couric.
he talks to Maggie Haberman.
Maggie
Maggie
Haberman.
Haberman just
Jesse who?
I don't know. Some
in the
guy.
Google Doc.
Not familiar.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people listen to that?
I'm not sure, but like Maggie Haberman being interviewed and just like blowing someone up, be like, "No, I'm working. Wait, hold on, I'm working." It was just the best thing. And also
she was on long form. She was on long form too, and she was like on her
Yeah.
laptop the entire time.
Oh,
It was so
actually,
great.
that's what I'm talking about. Never mind. That's what I'm talking about, and it's so good. And she's just like, "Okay, shut up. Nah, one second. I don't want to talk about that." And it was just so badass, and like it wasn't a good interview. It was just really.
Oh, it was
No,
really
it was a
telling
good
though, her
interview, but
personality,
yeah.
and you could tell how guarded she has to be about
Yeah.
all kinds of things. Well, it's funny because like I don't think she was a dick about it. I really respected. I mean, she's one of my favorite journalists. I call her Molly,
Mm-hmm.
but she's really she'll just be like, nope, I can't talk about that. I can't talk about anything apart from what was published, or I like won't talk about sources. But she just does it in this way where she's like, she's had these questions
Mm-hmm.
about. I mean, shit, can you imagine how many times Trump has asked her what her sources are? And she's used to going,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. I don't think
It
she even
was
says I'm
so
sorry.
cool.
She just says I can't talk about that.
Yeah, she doesn't need to apologize.
That's her job.
We have nice listeners, but if you ever wonder, like, oh man, that lady's really being a bitch on the internet. No, this is why she's been harassed by the leader of the free world for
who's a little bit obsessed with her. He's a little obsessed with her. But she plays it off legit. She's like, oh yeah, I've had death threats and stuff. Whatever, it's a job. It's a living. I love her.
Boss-ass bitch. I have quite a crush on this lady.
Haber's gonna Habe.
Haber's gonna Habe. Thank you. It's an original joke I just came up with.
It's actually on her Twitter avatar, but good job.
I've got some Scaramucci news. Can I do some Scaramucci news? I have a story. Okay, I think I'm going to break a story on Dubai Friday. I think it's possible that no one else. So I've been reading a lot about. There's this weird little sideshow scandal that I've just been in my attention bubble this week, and I think I've put some pieces of this together that it's possible that no one else in the media has fit together. And I want to run this by you guys, and you tell me if I'm crazy or not. So, did you guys follow the story of this dude Arthur Schwartz?
No.
Yes.
So Arthur Schwartz is. Hang on, I dropped my pen. Oh no, my pen. Arthur Schwartz. Hang on. You know what I need? Yeah, this is what I need. I need some Rachel Maddow papers. Hang on. Okay. Now, let me tell you about Arthur Schwartz. Arthur Schwartz, he's one of these New York finance guys. He's either a paid PR person or a close friend of Scaramucci. Accounts differ.
Importantly, though, yet another person who seems to be doing a lot of cocaine.
Oh, he sits at the cocaine table at Scaramucci's restaurant.
Another one of these so cokey.
Scaramucci has a restaurant in New York. I think it's called like the Fish and Game Club or something like that. And there's like a power table where these like coked up Steve Bannon, like alt-right people like Milo Yiannopoulos and like Arthur Schwartz like sit and eat overcooked steaks together and do blow. And they all tweet about being at this table together or whatever. And so Arthur Schwartz, he's either a PR person for Scaramucci or just a friend of his. And now he used to own one of these like hedge funds that had a ton of money, even though they did worse than like a basic index fund. And now he just does like consulting or something like that. But he made a tweet. So he's basically acted as a spokesperson or in affiliation with Scaramucci, but in a kind of gray area, nebulous gray area where it's not clear if he officially represents him or not.
It seemed like he was doing very little to distance himself from being a semi-official associate of his.
That's absolutely
you know what I mean?
correct.
So eventually, of course, he changed his bio because he had to. But like for a while, he was. It seemed like he was sort of like it was like his little Scrappy Doo Dan Scavino man.
Yeah. So basically, as soon as Rance Priebus left, which I think was on like the 23rd or the 24th, Arthur Schwartz makes this tweet, very inflammatory. And he's done this before. He sort of threatened people on Scaramucci's behalf. But he said to Rance, hey, at Rance45, so tagging him, you're unemployed now. Keep pushing this crap. And by this crap, he's linking to a quoted tweet about some shit that Rance Priebus said or something. Keep pushing this crap, and I'll start dropping oppo, meaning opposition research, on you. And then he says, mistress much? Implying that he has opposition research that shows that Rance Priebus
what a terrible coked up tweet. Only a coked up person toots something like that. That's insane.
Right. And the thing he's linking to, it says saying Priebus warned Trump not to hire Scaramucci, saying Skybridge Capital's buyers overpaid because he promised them special access to Trump, which is, of course, true. So anyway, Arthur Schwartz is basically threatening Rance Priebus and saying, I will make up details about an affair that you had or a mistress that you have and leak them online if you don't stop talking about Scaramucci. Now, then the press picks up on this because that's a really juicy, salacious story. And that someone from the New York Daily News talked to this dude, Arthur Schwartz, and he said, quote, to the New York Daily News, it's just rumors that have been going on for a while, Schwartz told the New York Daily News. Quote, I wasn't expecting anyone to pick up on it. It was a mistake, and I regret it, and I apologize to Rance, because obviously it's bullshit, and he can't back it up. Then Arthur Schwartz deletes, then the media continues, and then he also got into a fight with Jake Tapper, and Jake Tapper reported on it, and Jake Tapper's like a real journalist, and then
you never get in a fight with somebody who buys electrons by the barrel.
I mean, Jake Tapper too is like he's like the one kind of tough guy, Edward Murrow journalist who will like actually stand up to these Trump people. Like, I don't always agree with everything that he says, but like, I don't think Jake Tapper's going to like back down from a fight with, some coked
But he's one of these people though. He's like a dire wolf. I mean, just keep your hands away from his mouth. You're not gonna drop a little bon mot, fucking delete it, and then expect him to just like not notice and go, oh, sorry, my bad.
Exactly. He's the exact wrong person to do that to. He's not going to threaten easily. So eventually Arthur Schwartz deletes the tweets, and then he tweeted, this is a tweet from Arthur Schwartz on July 30th. He said, I deleted my tweets regarding @rants and apologized to him. Pretty sure he's not accepting my apology. Can't blame him. I'm ashamed of what I said. Then he tweeted, I don't have this one, I couldn't find it, but he then tweeted something to the effect of, I believe later that day, Rants Priebus accepted my apology. He's a bigger man than I am, and I'm grateful to have his forgiveness and be able to move on from this. Something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And then Jake Tapper tweeted that night, and he says, source close to @Rants said he never spoke to Arthur Schwartz and has neither heard nor accepted any apology from him. And I'm watching this unfold, and it's just one. It's not even in the top 20 news stories of this week, and nor should it be. It's like dumb internal drama among these like, coked up Republican, like high-powered business people or whatever. But I'm thinking, like, this is so fucking weird. Like, why would they lie? Why would they be lying? Why would he lie about Priebus accepting the apology? Like, is it some sort of power move where he's trying to get Priebus to accept the apology without having to humble himself and make it? But it's just such a crazy fucking thing to lie about. And I was like...
And for most of America, the story ends there.
Yes,
but
I was like, these people must be insane that they behave like this. And then, sure enough, yesterday, CNN has this unbelievable report, and they say, this is from CNN, a self-described email prankster in the UK fooled a number of White House officials into thinking he was other officials, including an episode where he convinced the White House official tasked with cybersecurity that he was Jared Kushner and received that official's private email address unsolicited.
Jesus Christ.
CNN says, I try to keep it on, quote, I try to keep it on the humorous side of things, the email prankster told CNN. Quote, I'm not trying to get the keys to the vault or anything like that. Now, going on from the CNN story, one such exchange appears to have possibly played a role in the tensions between then White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, who resigned from his job earlier today, and since fired White House Chief of Staff Rance Priebus. Masquerading as Priebus, the prankster emailed Scaramucci's official account using a Mail.com account on Saturday, the day after Priebus's resignation was announced. Quote, I had promised myself I would leave my hands mud-free, wrote the fake Priebus, but after reading your tweet today, which stated how, quote, soon we will learn who in the media has class and who hasn't, has pushed me to this. That tweet was breathtakingly hypocritical even for you. At no stage have you acted in a way that's even remotely classy, yet you believe that's the standard by which everyone should behave towards you. General Kelly will do a fine job. I'll even admit he will do a better job than me. But the way in which that transition has come about has been diabolical and hurtful. I don't respect and apply. The very real Scaramucci responded, quote, you know what you did. We all do, even today. But rest assured, we were prepared. A man would apologize. Fake Priebus wrote back, quote, I can't believe you are questioning my ethics. The so-called mooch, who can't even manage his first week in the White House without leaving upset in his wake. I have nothing to apologize for. And then... wait a minute. And then Scaramucci, I didn't write this one down, but Scaramucci replied back and said, I'm not going to reply to you anymore, but you should read Shakespeare, especially Othello.
Mm-hmm. This is an exchange in YouTube comments about somebody like, oh, you didn't stream this right mod.
They're all like posturing and putting their hands in their pockets and thrusting their pelvises towards each other. It's very like Alec Baldwin in Death of a Salesman.
Do we know if that's real Scaramucci, though? Is there a chance there's a double turns out?
Well, there's always a chance, but CNN says that was real Scaramucci, and that real. He also was emailing the Trump sons and stuff like that. He emailed John Huntsman and said that they should get that he emailed John Huntsman as Donald Trump Jr. and said we should have. He said my father looks much better than it would his lumpy suits make it appear, and we should have a photo op with him riding shirtless on a horseback like Putin. And Huntsman took it seriously.
And this is different from Rick Perry. That was Russians.
Go on.
There was a whining, wonkish, and occasionally obscure conversation about foreign coal exploration, natural gas pipelines, and pig manure as power source. Digga, digga, digga. Washington Post. But only one of the men on the line, Energy Secretary Rick Perry, held sway over his nation's energy policy. On the other end of the conversation were Vladimir Vovan Kuznetsov and Alexei Lexus Stolyarov, who had just added Perry to their list of high-profile hoax victims. Secretary Perry is the largest target of two Russian pranksters, Energy Department spokeswoman Shailene Haynes said in an email to the Post. These individuals are known for pranking high-level officials and celebrities. Basically, I think they got him on the phone and he talked for like 20 minutes.
Was like Jon Favreau ever pranked? Like
No.
what? This is so
No, because
weird.
here's the thing: is I thought maybe this prankster, when I was reading about this for the first time, I thought what he was doing surely was spoofing his email headers so that it looked like he was sending, WhiteHouse.gov emails and infiltrating their email chain. But he wasn't doing that. He was just he made fake mail.com accounts. Like he was like, rants at mail.com or whatever. And so he wasn't even spoofing the headers. He wasn't even hacking or doing anything. He was doing, like, I could fucking do this on Gmail. I could become Steve Bannon at gmail.com and just start fucking, emailing people, and they would take it seriously. These people, they're truly extremely dumb. They're really, really stupid.
It's also, this is, not to be me here, but like this is another downside of getting a high volume of email, is that if you get a low volume of email, you can afford to actually look at it like a person and figure out what to do about it. If you get a ton of email and a bunch of it is like all kinds of bullshit with like your shitty Windows server and you got to go update this thing and do this thing and you're constantly getting pop-ups and you're like, yes, I just want to get back to masturbating. And you just start clicking at whatever fucking pops up. Like that's when things go wrong.
Yeah. Merlin, you should do the Inbox Zero Talk at the White House. And
that's a good idea.
I'll do a huge line of blow, and then they'll have a Pomodoro, and they'll clear out their inbox.
Oh, my God.
Process.
You hit the tomato, and you just work. You work real hard. You do
Pomodoro!
Pomodoro! Yeah, but, it's, hypernormalization. It's getting difficult to know. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I think it's all very strange. I think you're right. I don't like to piss from the high ground about this stuff because I don't think I have the best OPSEC in the world. But a bunch of people are talking about this now. We're inside of organizations. It's becoming, pretty SOP to sort of test out your employees and send out these kinds of messages to avoid the John Podesta type situation. You're testing out people, seeing what they'll click.
Oh, you're saying I should be emailing some Cards employees, and I should say, hey guys, it's Max. Does anyone want to get a couple of hot pepperoni pizzas delivered to the office? Just fresh, steaming, fresh, hot, tight pizzas. And then I see what they say, and if they, it's a test. And if they're like, yes, I do want some pizzas. We should get 3 pizzas delivered to the office. Wink, wink. Now I know.
It's like picking a Dalai Lama. You dangle some deep dish, see how they respond, and then you go and you cuck them, and you come up when you're wearing like a cop hat, and you walk up and you go, "Bad on you," and then you stick a sticker on them. I'm a bad boy.
Do you know about the situation with the Dalai Lama?
Probably
you mean
not.
how he's chosen?
No, so
I've seen King of the Hill. I know how it works.
So the chosen Dalai Lama was like, I hope I'm getting the details of this approximately correct, but he was kidnapped by the Chinese and they replaced him with another one, with a different one.
I had not heard that.
And because only the chosen Lama can pick the next Lama, this is the current Dalai Lama will be the last Dalai Lama.
You're saying it's Lamas all the way down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me.
How is this not like?
You guys talk about nose hairs or things you thought sounded like other things on Twitter, and I'll look up this Dalai Lama news.
I cannot say earlier in a meeting today. It's kind of like button. Like they're just words I can't say.
Button?
And I can't
What's
say
button?
The thing that you use to close your shirt up, or it works now because you can call them pins most of the time, and I don't wear.
Buttons.
Anyway,
button.
I was in a meeting earlier, and we were talking about Scaramucci jokes, and I tried to say it, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Do you
have problems with mouth words sometimes?
Yes, like people think I'm just bad at podcasting, which I am. However, I have a pretty prominent stammer, which I've come to think people
I think
see
that's
as
a
endearing.
Bit. Fake news. I think that's a bit. You're doing a bit.
People do.
Button.
Button. I also come from a town called Wheaton, and I can't. It comes out as like Wheaton most of the time. How are you doing, Merlin. Oh, I've got some follow up on Smalt that Max won't care about. The centerpiece, the Bluetooth.
The
salt
centerpiece
shaker.
Smalt. This is
Yes.
the Bluetooth enabled salt shaker that you use as a centerpiece, because centerpieces have been part of our culture since Roman times.
And I reached
We
out
all
to
know
them
the
a while.
importance of the centerpiece.
Yeah, and of course they're
They
an
signal wealth and
Indiegogo.
elegance.
Not that I have any professional reason to not like Indiegogo at all. But the video really is something. They've got they just put it in front of a sunset. Like two people are on beach chairs looking at a sunset, and there's no food. They move it from the table where they are eating food and just put it next to them in their wine glasses.
This is
I
so
love
Tim
it.
and Eric.
I love it. It's so good.
Ambience light.
So good.
Bluetooth speaker.
I almost got oh cool, like it has
Smart salt dispenser with an app.
it's got the lady in the tube API, which I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like
That's
I
cool.
want 1 tablespoon of salt, but then it poops out a little tampons worth of salt, and it's super weird.
Oh, this video is great.
Oh,
why are you salting your eggs the old-fashioned way? Track, monitor, and control your salt. Oh my God, this is incredible, Alex. Is this real?
Yes, yeah, and you can track how much sodium,
It goes into Apple Health.
which I'm trying. I wonder, how do you know? Because if it's a centerpiece, everybody's using it. How do you monitor your exact sodium intake?
Oh my God, this is the greatest video of all time. Oh my God, I'm putting it in the doc.
There's nothing funnier than the Trump family and the Smalt, and I think it's going to be a family of products. Smepper,
Smepper?
I'm sure is going to be a thing.
SMSG?
Very excited. And then they can talk to each other because they're smart.
I love you.
Do you ever feel lonely, Smepper? No, I have you, Smalt. Do you ever think about sodium? I mean, really think about sodium? I know, right? It's a great source of iodine, which is radioactive.
What is my purpose? You pour salt. Oh my God.
Oh no. Health conditions are causing less use of smalt. Smalt sad.
All right, I've talked enough for this episode. Max, are you prepared?
What I've discovered, I've been frantically Googling the situation with the Dalai Lama and the Panchen Lama, and what I've discovered is that it's actually more complicated than I understood from listening to 2 minutes on a podcast about it, and I'll try and learn something about it and explain it later.
Okay.
We had a whole goat crisis this weekend.
So somebody stole your goat, right?
Merlin, it goes much deeper.
Well, I'll tell you who stole our goddamn goats. It's the fucking Wicker Park Chamber of Commerce.
Can we talk? Are we allowed to talk about this? I was very nervous
come on,
to
Dubai.
tweet
Come on, Dubai Friday,
God.
bitches. I challenge you to a goat debate.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to
Putting-
guess without prior approval. But in
You're,
general,
just so you know, Max, you're allowed to do that 2 more times.
Okay.
That's the new
Let's
rule.
put this in context.
okay. Does that count as one of them, or is there
no.
only one remaining?
I'm tired of
let's-
being gracious.
Calm down, everyone. Calm down. This week in Chicago, this weekend, Wicker Park Fest happened. It's this lovely little street festival, and so Cards Against Humanity. We were selling some cards, and we also brought our goat friends. It was Cards Against Humanity and goats.
Aw.
But apparently, and we had these lovely urban farmers who
You had
assured
great,
us
and
they,
you had great signage. You guys are so
Yeah.
good at this. You're so good at productizing weird.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with this, and it's all my very talented colleagues. But we were really passionate about these goats, and they'd given us the permits. They do this all the time, show off their urban goats. And so, but then this man who had a DJI backpack on, so he was wearing his drone on his backpack. He has this policeman walkie-talkie, comes up and is like, "You can't have the goats. You can't have the goats." And so the plan was that I would play stupid. I'm like, you have to talk to my supervisor. So we kept making up supervisors until Max actually got there and started yelling at people.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, Max,
Well, I
what was
didn't
the situation?
Well,
Not yell.
I didn't yell at them.
Well, you
So
should have yelled at them.
Basically, when I got there, an hour or two after the thing opened, and the Wicker Park Chamber of Commerce, which sort of puts on this festival, they had come to us, and there was some lady, and she was just doing her job, but she was like,
She was very nice.
she was fine, and she was like, you can't have these goats. She said to me, what's the plan for removing the goats? And listen, my advice, anytime you deal with any sort of middle management authority figure or call center or Comcast or anything, is just say the opposite of what they say, because it discombobulates them. They don't know how to recover from that. So she said, well, I need to know the plan for removing the goats. And I said, there's no plan for removing the goats. and then she was like, okay, I'll be back. And then it was and then she came back 20 minutes later or whatever, and she's like, you need to remove the goats. And I was like, well, why do they need to go? And she's like, well, you don't have the right permits for the goats. And I said, well, what permits do you need for the goats? Because we had Googled this and talked to some lawyers and stuff, and you don't need any permits to have goats for a couple hours at a street festival or whatever. And she's like, you need a goat permit. And I was like, I don't. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think there's such a thing as a goat permit. She's like, you need a goat exhibition permit or something like that. And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure that does not exist.
That sounds like a shakedown.
And I said to her, and I'm like, well, she's just making up a permit that we don't have, and that she's positing the existence of this permit. So I was like, no, we have that. It's on file with the city. Because my thought is, if she can make up a permit, then I can make up that we have the permit, and that's just as valid in fantasy land.
By your logic.
Right. Dear Chicago officials listening, the permit, it was indeed filed by the city by these urban goat farmers. It did exist.
Right. That's the thing. So that's the thing that's important to note here, is that these weren't just some street goats that we scraped off of the gutter. There was a goat farm that had all of their documentation and permits, and these were healthy goats with the correct documentation. So then she came back and she's like, the city of Chicago needs you to have these health inspection permits and stuff, and she showed, she pulled up something, and I pulled it up and looked at it, and I was like, nope, this is for a zoo. And I was like, we're not operating a commercial zoo here, so we don't need this. So we went back and forth, and I bought us a couple of hours by and then every time they'd come back and say we need some permit, I was like, no, we have that permit, because I was like, what are they gonna? It's a Saturday. What are they gonna call the records department?
Just out of curiosity, how long was the event? How long did you need to buy?
2 days.
Oh
2 days.
Gosh, okay.
Well, but what we did is, so they saw the goats at 10 a.m., which is when this opened, and we had the goats, we stalled them until about 4 p.m. And I kept sending Tom, our events manager, just go away, and every time they come, I'll say you'll be back in 5 minutes. And so that helped for a while. But Max, can you get to the scary man who came?
The scary man? Was I there for that?
I don't know if you were. There was this man who you know what? I can punch down on this guy. He had bigger boobs than me, and he was wearing his fucking drone backpack, and he just came up. He's like, I'm not interested in having this conversation. The goats need to go. And he was actively yelling at us. And I'm just standing in the corner, looking at these permits and still trying to see if we can find a loophole out of this. And our goat people are great and well, we just can't take them out. It's a safety issue. And actually, there's a permit that you need to they permit.
Do you have your permit to remove our goats?
We need a permit to walk them down a public Chicago street. That's not something that actually is something you can't do. And so then I asked him, because he had his drone backpack on, I'm like, excuse me, do you have an FDA license to fly that drone? I'm just curious. And then he ignored me and walked away.
Whoa.
I'm very salty about that. And so eventually the goats had to go. But then this amazing toy store in Chicago, I call them and say, excuse me, do you have a life-size stuffed goat I could buy? And without a beat, yeah, want to come pick it up? Ran a mile. I haven't run a mile since the presidential fitness test in high school. Got a stuffed goat. It was adorable. I will put the pictures in the show note. Brought it back. An hour later, it was stolen. And
oh my God.
I'm very upset about it.
You try and do something nice for the people,
I mean, eventually they figured out the correct tactic to defeat us, which was they came in and they said, this is our festival and you can't have goats here. You have to make the goats leave. Trying to deflect. The problem was everyone kept coming up and saying no, we're cool. We love the goats, but the city, they say you can't have the goats. And don't just take responsibility for it if you want to ruin everyone's fun. Very funny real-time Dan Scavino, Anthony Scaramucci follow-up. He just did an interview. This is on Death and Taxes, and it says, so what are you going to do next? I asked him. Quote, I am now going to go dark, he said. And
Whoa.
And then, quote, I will reemerge, he paused, as me. This guy, he's fucking like, so he also, I don't know if you know this, he also has like strep throat right now.
Oh, no.
So like all in the course of like 1 week, basically, he sold his company to be able to work at the White House. And then he was told he couldn't work at the White House. And then he wound up getting the job, but he missed the birth of his child. His wife divorced him. And and then
Strep throat sucks. That is no fun to have.
And one of his like main functions while he was there, he forced out Rance Priebus as chief of staff. And then John Kelly comes in as chief of staff. And his first thing, he pushes out Scaramucci. He fucked himself. That must be the thing that drives him the most insane, is that he brought in the guy who fired him.
He loves that guy. He loves him.
Yeah. Who someone made that great tweet, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves.
Write 2 letters.
I'm kind of stuck.
Going to go dark, and then I will reemerge.
I'm stuck
as
on
me.
that. I'm stuck on that line. Like, is he gonna go buy some eyeliner and go to Hot Topic and then just like?
I'm not okay. I'm not fucking gay.
I was born in the darkness. I was molded by it. I didn't know the light until I was an old man.
There's been some tachyon interference. It makes it difficult for me to see the future.
He could pull.
Yes, he's Dr. Manhattan. He's going to be an emo Dr. Manhattan. He's going to come out of this whole thing with this big blue dick.
You're saying we're going to see his dong?
Look what happened. Look what happened with Lori. Look what happened with Lori. Lori had to go see Dan because she was so sad about Dr. Manhattan. He's the new Dr. Manhattan.
I would love to see Scaramucci's hog. I would love it if that was the next development, was we saw Scaramucci's hog.
Oh, you know he's got a wide boy.
Oh, you're saying he's got a...
girth, not length. Is that how? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's driving a taxi down the Chode Road. You know he's got a wide load.
He has a Coke 1.
Yes.
For men.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this.
He's got a grower and a shower and a blower.
Well,
Midnight Toker.
I feel like we should at least mention that that he said that Steve Bannon.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's making fun of him because obviously Steve Bannon has a very long, useless cock that he can self-fillate, whereas Scaramucci, the mooch has something much broader going on. He's got something more like a can of beans.
But Scaramucci said that Bannon, he's got the self suck going on.
Yeah, but that little skinny thing, he's
the Ouroboros. He's the snake that sucks his own dick.
Exactly, but it's like the size of a child's husky pencil. Like big compared to a pencil, but not compared to a can of beans.
You're saying that when Bannon does the Ouroboros,
yes.
It's like one of those pencils where you turn the tip and it comes out. Bloop.
Oh, like a mechanical pencil. Literal pencil dick. Could be. I mean, he knows more about this than I do. But I don't think you could make a remark like that about somebody else's self-fellation unless you were very, very confident in your own beans.
I don't understand why it's an insult. Like, isn't that like I feel like if I had a penis and I could blow myself, I would do that like once a day. Why not? Why is that a bad thing?
It's not bad.
I don't understand penises, guys. It's very confusing.
Me neither.
Yep.
I heard that Steve Bannon had one of his ribs removed.
I heard he had to go to the hospital. And they had to pump his stomach because he had fucking 4 gallons of cum, and that there's spider eggs and
gerbil in
bubblegum.
his asshole.
I heard one time Steve Bannon said these cookies are really good. You have the recipe, and they billed his card for $7,000. 9/11.
Listen, whom among us hasn't done a huge pile of blow
and impugned a bunch of strangers and colleagues?
Just done the old self-suck for 72 hours. You hole up in a hotel room, you fill a hot tub full of acid.
We got an iTunes review that's like, this is a vulgar...
Oh shit, Doc, there's iTunes reviews?
No.
Oh my goodness. iTunes.
Okay,
Let me get in here.
There was like, this is a very vulgar comedy podcast. I'm like, it's okay. It's not a comedy podcast. It's not a political podcast. It's not vulgar. And then
No, this is serious commentary. We stand by everything we say.
I'm very
I
sorry.
have to
I'm sorry,
download.
Merlin.
I have to
I'm sorry.
download the podcast app.
Nope. We're rebranded Apple Podcasts.
Please don't. Such a dead end. Such a dead end. Please don't.
Dig Dug. Merlin,
Oh,
did
wow,
you?
we have good reviews. We have a 4.5 out of 5.
No one reviews us. I don't want anyone to review us. I don't. No. It really helps, guys.
It really helps to like and subscribe. Leave a comment and a review. It really helps other people find out about the show.
Five stars. 5 stars. Max is funny. They've got a good thing going here.
Fuck
like
me.
that
Gently,
one.
stop it. Don't do this. I don't look at those. I
we're
do not
not.
hear those. And I don't want to encourage anyone to even know that they exist. No one should leave reviews and ratings ever. Unless it's about a security camera. And how hard would it be to make it so the security camera could be upside down from the ceiling and you'd be able to still get the images and you'd be able to flip it? How hard is that, really?
I mean, honestly, I do read the reviews because I hope that I grow a dick so long that I can suck myself because people say that I'm funny on this. And
So
I'm
in the
like,
musical
no, I'm not.
version of
No,
this,
I'm not.
that'll be your I Want song.
3 stars. Problematic. They talk about poo for 45 minutes.
I wish I had a cock that could reach my mouth. I pull the hairs with tiny tweezer hands. Oh why, oh why, oh why can't I get this can of beans into my mouth? Why'd you take my goat away?
You know what bothers me is I've been doing a lot of little panels and discussion thing. This is sort of a trend. I don't know if you've seen this too.
Tiny
when I go to
panels.
when I go to conferences or just even events at spaces or whatever, and they're like, it's not a panel or a talk, it's just a conversation, and it's like a group of it's like 5 business leaders from Chicago will lead a conversation on creativity or something like that. So I've been doing a ton of these because that's kind of the format that people ask for, and. Whatever, it's fine. It's no better or worse than a panel, I guess. But the funny thing I've been noticing is all of these I don't know how to put it, these filler phrases that people say to begin their statements to the group. So they'll say things like, well, I just want to piggyback. I just really want to add to what Max is saying, and I just want to piggyback on that comment. And another one that people say that's good is, well, I just want to tie everything together that everyone's been saying. And then they'll go off and say their comment that's not really related to it. Well, I really think when it comes to, I want to tie together what everyone's been saying, which is, it really comes down to confidence, or something like that. And it's who appointed you the fucking, writing the epilogue of this book?
This is the kind of horseshit advice that when you go in, you're a dingling who doesn't know how to talk to the media, you go and you get a half-day course from somebody about how to do this. And the first thing they teach you, I think, is to not move your head around too much and don't wear stripes. But then they'll say things like, whenever you're asked a question, instantly find a way to turn it into the thing that you would prefer to talk about and deflect it. And that's where we got, because nobody ever really needs to begin a sentence with, no, you for millennia, we used to begin sentences by just saying things. But now, by saying, you get the chance to stop the conversation cold in its tracks. Then you drop in a little bit of Conway, and you do a little bit of well, no, this is really actually all about this other thing. And then you deflect to whatever the fuck you want to talk about. But it's these little bridging statements that feel like social lubricant, but are really about constantly derailing the conversation into the thing that you actually wanted to talk about.
Well, and it's clear. It's also clear when people do those comments that they're not in the moment at all in the conversation. What
listen.
They've been stewing on this comment for 20 minutes, waiting for their chance waiting for a moment of silence to jump in.
Study for the wrong test. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and then they're jumping in. They're like, well, I just want to pivot for a moment to talk about this other topic. What about this unrelated thing? It's well, how long have you had that in the can? What about what everyone else was saying?
Can we circle back to something Max mentioned a little bit earlier? Listen. So
you know what? The thing that drives me crazy about the well, I just want to tie all these ideas together is who fucking appointed you the narrator of Lord of the Rings, where you're and it sure was a brave journey by all of these hobbits, and in the end, it truly was a fellowship of the rings. No one asked you to be, no one made you the narrator of the conversation.
Right. And there's like certain internet personalities who I will not mention, but who really thrive. They really treasure their position as the really smart peacemaker who comes in at the last minute and goes, "Guys," and then you bring it all together. And it's
Guys,
like,
there's a lot of points of view here, and the important thing is that we all treat each other respectfully and that all voices are heard.
We're really a land of contrast.
All right, hold on. I gotta get a Kleenex because now I've been constantly very aware of my nose hair, and I just.
How's the Kleenex come into that?
I'm watching this with great anticipation. Alex has retrieved the box of Kleenex. She's returning to the microphone.
Is it because she needs a place to put her dirty hair?
It's like I feel like I know I don't
Did
have
you
boogers.
extract a nose hair?
No, I did not. I did not pluck nose hair.
Are you going to edit that out like the time you threw up on the podcast?
I did not.
Yeah,
throw
that's
up
a
on the
goddamn
podcast.
shame.
I left the room and then threw up.
Listen,
That's all.
That's worse than the time that I made fun of fat people at Gen Con and it got edited out.
I've been thinking about this. Because of a lot of reasons, I'm like slowly been losing weight, and I'm like, at what point am I not allowed to make fat jokes anymore? Because that's really all I have: lesbian jokes and fat jokes.
Aw.
And I know it's.
Now you should
it's
try.
real
You should try being a
hardship.
skinny white guy, a straight fit white guy.
I can't
'Cause
say
let me
anything.
tell you, they're one of the most discriminated against groups. You can't make any jokes.
Do you know how hard it is for white people to get into college now?
Did you see the thing on Twitter that this blew my mind? That
The picture of the
apparently-
interns? Did you see
Oh,
that?
go on. Please go on.
Oh,
Have you seen the picture of the White House interns?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me guess. A lot of white dudes.
Well, it's not
purely
just that
white
they're
people.
white dudes. It's that they all look like vampires.
They're all
My
well, they're all greasy.
it's like Eric
They all
Trump.
have a lot of like creams on their face and like.
Why are all
like,
these white people so
tonics.
moist?
They have a
They're
lot
all
of like,
moist.
They have like tonics in their hair.
It really is like at least one Trump family member just like bit them and then they just like lost a ton of blood and they grew the grease and they like learned how to comb their hair and it's just ugh. Did anyone do the challenge this week?
I did the challenge. I
what the
didn't
challenge
do
is?
it very well, but I did it.
Can you say what the challenge was?
The
And I'll say get into how, if I did it and how much.
All right, the
I'm
challenge.
like OJ. It's not that I did it, but if I did it, here's how I would have done it.
Oh, it's all about typesetting with you.
Doug Dig. The challenge was to download the app Streaks, which I can't stop thinking that it has something to do with poop, but it is one of those habit forming apps. And you were to pick at least
Siri,
one
set a
habit.
reminder in Streaks to wash my underwear in the hotel sink with the borax.
Nice.
Choose at least one habit and try to complete it every day for a week. It was very loose. And one thing I like about Streaks is they updated it to have bad habits. So
Yes.
like typically you
Lots more icon plus bad habits.
Yeah. And so you say there's a very pleasing circle. You hit it when you have completed your habit or task for the day. But if you have broken one of your if you've done one of your bad habits, you have to select that as well. So I have one that's eat shit snacks. And as I let you guys know last night or very early this morning, I had a little bit of ego depletion going on and had some Pringles and Reese's Pieces, at about 1 or 2 this morning.
That's
And
how my
then
brain says it too. Reese's
Yeah.
Pieces.
And then I was looking closer at that picture, and if you notice, I left the top of the Pringle can on. You know how you peel it back, and that is so I could hide it and put the cover back on, so Mel wouldn't know that I ate a half can of Pringles in the middle of the night. Yeah, she doesn't.
I
Listen
can
to the
see what
show.
kind of
Yeah.
iPad you have. If I zoom in, I can see your address on your birth control.
That's probably true. So how did you do in this challenge, Merlin? Do you have any thoughts and feelings? Does the Merlin man have any thoughts and feelings on habits? And
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
I've been a user of Streaks for a while. It's for what it does, it's pretty good. What was I using it for? I've been using it to remind me to, I hate this fucking word so much, work out for 20 minutes, which is such a dumb way to put it, but basically go move for a few minutes every day. And then I added other ones. I added floss your teeth. I'll send you a screen grab. I added floss your teeth, record heart rate stand, and one called Don't Die. And every day that I don't die, I'm allowed to click on that.
Oh, good.
Yes. My workout.
I just love clicking on stuff.
I know, right? No, I missed a couple flosses. The heart rate's automatic, so that's a no-brainer. I always hit my stand goal. Those are cheats. I haven't died. But I think this is, I'll tell you what I think is handy about this is that I don't mean to drag this on, but I think it's useful to be able to say, here's the thing I want to change. We talked about this actually just this week on Back to Work. I think it's really useful to say, this is the thing that I want to change. And I'm so into doing that. I might have thought about this for 15 years, but I'm finally going to type letters and pick a picture for it. And I'm going to say, this is the thing in this app. I think that actually makes a pretty big difference to write it down. Or type it in this case. But then second, I think it can be very handy that it reminds you. It'll say, like, usually in the afternoon, if I haven't taken a walk, I'll get a little pop-up. And it's annoying. But, like, that is one of the annoyances that I have deliberately brought on myself. I want it to bug me about this. But then, finally, even if I don't get it, that doesn't mean I delete the app, right? Even if I missed it today and I've broken my streak, that doesn't mean I don't do it anymore. And I have several apps like this. The other one that I like a lot, to be honest, is David_Smith's Activity Plus, which does some nice things on top of your rings for your Apple Watch. But yeah, I did it. I didn't succeed, but I think it's a good challenge. How'd you do?
I'm sending you some screenshots now. I actually listened to Back to Work, and these are sort of, I find streaks sort of like a gamification type thing. Like, I have one that says wake up on time, but it's kind of a cheat because I always do wake up on time. But then if I have to hit it and I know that I have only gotten like 3 hours of sleep, I'm like, that's not great. And catch a Pokemon is really just leave the fucking house. Alex, go somewhere outside and be outside for a little bit.
Oh, look at that. I see. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm still one of the 20 people in the world who play Pokemon Go. And there's a lot of cool places in the city that have little gyms and shit.
It's the same guy who makes Health Face? I love Health Face.
Yeah. And
okay.
the walk thing is automatic. And
They're probably one of the best Apple developers.
They're
very good. iOS developers.
Yeah, they're I really like the now all of this integrates with to bring it back to what Merlin said, it integrates with HealthKit, so it'll let me know if I'm using what do I use? I don't know. I have a water tracking app, and that's really to make sure that I don't drink Diet Coke all day.
Can you explain what the black screen does?
The black screen is bad habits, and you can customize that in any way you want.
And it's like, don't do the bad habit.
Yeah, so I had to knock off one because today or this morning I ate a bunch of shitty snacks.
I don't know how I feel about that, but
it is much harder. It is. I'll be Merlin Man for a minute. It is much harder to do this kind of thing with a bad habit because either of the options is not very savory. One of the options is when I'm a bad boy, I have to smash the button, and the other option is if you invert it, is that at 12:01 a.m., I'm allowed to tick the box that says I was a good boy today, which means your whole day, that's like hanging over your head. You know what I mean? If you're really like desperately trying not to smoke or pick boogers, like that's kind of hanging over your head all day. It is much less fraught to introduce a new habit than it is to just strictly stop a bad one. Unless you just say, look, I'm never doing this again. I'm throwing this pack of cigarettes against the wall. I will never touch these ever again. And some people do that. You can do that. It's just that if you failed at doing that or have not succeeded in the way you would like in the past, it gets you. You know, it eats at you. That like, you know, I've never beaten this game.
I mean, well, and that's what I like. Like I like going into the little calendar and like, yeah, it was so good. For a while I had it where I was like, don't order Postmates. And then it's like, oh wow, I've spent a month not ordering Postmates at 3 a.m. And like. Also, and again, this is silly. This is my own gamification. Like, I know I'm never going to have a streak of like 300 days of not eating bad food. I want it to make me feel bad. There's another app I really like called, it's by the guy who makes Carrot Weather, which people are pretty jazzed about right now, but it's like Carrot Workout, which is this, it has a like a character of an AI that basically yells at you to work out, and it shames you if you don't. And I just find that enjoyable, and that's what motivates me because I don't want to disappoint my fake robot friend.
I like the carrot bot.
Yeah.
You can now change. You can change how aggressive the weather bot is with you.
Yes.
It's pretty funny. Have you poked the eye?
Oh, I've stopped poking the eye.
So-
It's not fun anymore. She gets real mad.
I have such a hard time with this. I have installed and uninstalled this app 100 times on my
Really?
phone. Yeah, because it always seems like a good idea, and it always seems like there's so many little things in the day. Flossing is actually one of my big ones. Like, I never. It's so hard for me to fucking make myself take the time to floss, and it's not. I don't know. We've talked about it. It's like not even that unpleasant. Like, there's no reason. It just sucks. I don't know. I don't want to take the time. I'm a busy man. I'd rather be playing video games. But flossing is one, like getting my meditation in there is one, and I do a pretty good job meditating every day, but it's nice to have a little reminder. But inevitably, like, the thing is, like, once I ignore filling one circle in streaks, the whole thing just crumbles to shit. Then it's just some icon sitting on my home screen blurping at me, beeping and blurping all day. I'm just like, no, fuck this. I'm already, this thing's not my boss. Like, I already defeated it.
Look at so I sent you the Activity Plus Plus, and one reason I sent that is you'll see a nice feature of this. So this is David_Smith's app, like all of his plus apps. Activity Plus Plus. On the face of it, it's not doing that much apart from what you get inside the health app with the rings. But notice, for example, Sunday the 30th. Did you see where I didn't reach my red goal? Mm-hmm. And so you see, I don't know if you see in little letters it says ZZZZZ. If you miss one of your days in a week, you still get to keep your streak. So as long as you do it for 7 days in a row, I think that's what it is. But anyway, if you do it for N number of days, you get back on the horse, you get to keep your streak. So like, there's like one day where I updated my watch. I was putting a new, updated OS on there, and it was on the stand longer than usual. And I lost my stand goal. I'm like, I never lose my stand goal. Like you can see here, I got 219 days of red, 190 days of blue, hardly ever hit green. But that's a little bit dispiriting where you're like, hey, no fair. Like, you should give me that one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. If you want to, I actually did this it was a similar thing because I didn't have my watch on one day, and for some reason what was it? I don't know, like the pedometer, I had turned it off. So you can edit it, like to be like, okay, this is actually a day that I did complete this habit, which is nice. And I think it's new. Along with, you can change all the icons and colors. It's very exciting.
I spent so much time on the icons.
Oh, yeah.
Check out the link I just sent you. This is a kind of interesting new addition. I've had a little fun with Exist. I've mentioned exist.io and talked about how in some ways it's really amazing, in some ways it's very silly. Long story short, it's that app that you basically hook it up to a bunch of your dinguses and services, and it finds over 30 to 90 days. It starts to find patterns that
it's
emerge.
like you're more push alert. You're more tired on days when you don't sleep a lot.
Right. You get more steps when you work out longer. Huh, thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. What was the one you weigh more when you're in Washington D.C. or it's windier when you're in Washington D.C. or something? But check out that link. I think this is a very interesting idea. Just a nice little hack where now you can go in and they have what's called custom tracking, and it's really just as simple as you tick on like if there's a thing that you're following. In this case, in this example, you'll see, did I drink coffee today? Did I play football today? Or watch football? I don't know. Sneezing. Vivid dream. So like you can just, when you wake up, you just hit a button that said vivid dream. And in 90 days or so, it might be able to tell you something interesting. Like when you have, I do wish Exist did more with sleep analysis. It doesn't, it's pretty basic with sleep analysis in a way. Fitbit really tries to give you stuff about REM versus deep versus light versus awake. But anyway, I think this is a really interesting idea where if whatever your deal is, where you're like, you could just have one called anxious morning. And you go like, I had an anxious morning today. And you know what? In 30 to 90 days, maybe it's going to tell you something. Oh, you know what? You have a lot of anxious mornings when you have evening coffee or whatever.
That's very interesting. So I could be at the end of the day, I could be like, I feel like garbage. And then in a few weeks, it'll be like, oh, you ate a Zesty sandwich from KFC.
Yeah, you could say, well, you could make a tag like tired PM, for example.
And you could be like, oh, on days when you eat more than one zinger, you feel very bad at night.
Get a zinger bomb. But I think things like that are super interesting. And like, again, it's just a question of like finding the solution that fits your problem rather than trying to do the opposite. Like just trying to figure out what are 50 solutions to a problem I may or may not have. And in this case, if you're interested in this stuff, I think the tools are out there for doing it. And if you've got the motivation to stick with it, these have gotten a lot more lightweight and mobile.
Did either of you learn anything from using this Streaks app? Did you like find a good thing that to put in Streaks or some sort of, I don't know, like I'm searching for some sort of way to get back into this or make it work for me, but I don't know, did you have any surprising journeys of self-discovery?
Well, I've actually been using this a really long time, and there was a while, I have this thing where if I have a streak for 30 days, then I just take it off, because I think that's the amount of time my brain is gets it like in, like this is just part of your day, where it was like read on a Kindle, specifically on my Kindle for 1 hour every day, because I know that if I'm on my phone or my iPad, which I do, like I read a ton on those, but I get
It's easy to forget about. It's easy to forget about a Kindle for months.
Yeah.
It's so easy if you're not doing it regularly.
Right.
And then I go in there and I have to manually delete like 60 days of Instapaper posts. It's like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, and so now that worked for me. And it was also, I had a reminder to play video games on the weekends, because I know this is silly, but like I would make plans to play video games or board games with my friends, and I just know that I'm happier if I have that tiny amount of human interaction. Not too much. Good Lord. Too much. No. So that's also something that helped. I failed on the whole meditation thing. It's I know this is like very Merlin Mann, but there are some things where I eventually just took it off because like, okay, right now this is not working for me for whatever reason, and
yeah, and it's just you're grinding your own nose into that pile of poop, like doing it over and over. I have to tell you that like if meditation apps work for you, and they work for a lot of people, I say good on you. I think meditation might be one of those kinds of things for me where I've got to want this a lot more, and an app's just going to annoy me. So, I mean, I think there's different things for different people. You've got to find like what that thing is. But, if there's something that gets you over the hump of the first day, the first 3 days, the first week, or there's the now widely discredited, it takes 3 weeks to build a habit, whatever, you got your own sense of that. I agree with you. 30 days, if you're doing it for 30 days, you're probably pretty good. But like for Max, I mean, like, what are the kinds of things, what are you talking about health or behavior or thoughts? Like, what are the kinds of things that you're thinking about?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously. Like I'm not. I don't do any of this stuff, and I'm not good at any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet sometimes I surprise myself because I set my mind to something and then I do it, and I'm like, and then when I'm done, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. Where did that come from?
Oh, it happens to me all the time. I mean, it happens often enough that it's disturbing to me. Where I'm like, I've been worrying about this for 2 years. And then I spent 15 minutes today, or spent 8 minutes today, and it was remarkably easy to take care of.
Yes,
but like,
and I look back and I'm like, where did that willpower? Where did that come from? Why can't I summon that whenever I want and just be a fucking grown up and handle my business? Why was I so scared to like sort my receipts for the year? Like, well, why?
I know. I think a lot of it's
why
chemistry. I think it's I think some of it really has to do with chemistry. For me, I'm sure there's a role of, on the one hand, whatever's happening with my anxiety, and then on the other hand, my dopamine issues. So like, there's just sometimes, you know what? I have a surprisingly good morning, by which I mean I manage to do something that ordinary fucking people do 20 times a day. But I just happen to do it this one day out of 2 years, and I really just put some points on the board. And it's startling. It's really startling because you realize, at least for myself, like I realize like it's so embarrassing. It's so shameful. But then like when you actually do it, you're like, you do get a little blast, I mean, there I don't know. I think it is chemistry in a lot of ways.
I don't know if this is a healthy thing to do, and I don't know if I would suggest other people do this, but I have, I've got like my bipolar hypomanic spurts. So I have just in my to-do list app, I have a list that I've labeled odds and ends. And whenever I'm like, just have a week where it's just crazy productive, and I've at the end of the day I do have time, and I'm like, I am gonna go in and turn off all of my Twitter, like get rid of all of my Twitter services, or organize all of these Dropbox files and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, channeling that stuff or channeling all of what is unhealthy energy into stuff that like, oh yeah, I could have done this a year ago, but now I feel so much better. Like if I had done it a year ago, I would have been like, oh, that was exhausting, and now I'm sad. Whereas,
and that could
I
be
feel
a
great
day
about it
where you
after.
do 4. Then suddenly that's a day where you do 4 of those things, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Why can't I do this at least one day a month? Why can't there be one day a month where I have utter executive control?
Why are we all like this?
I do think it's chemistry. And there's this thing that just hides in plain sight from me every moment of my day. I am entirely aware of this. I talk about this on podcasts. I talk about this with my daughter. But like and I'm just going to say it because I thought about it as recently as this morning a lot, which is like it's one thing to feel bad about something, and then it's another thing to feel bad about how you feel. And I think that is a giant force that I need to keep in mind a lot more often, which is that I have some control over the things that happen to me. But like I put myself through such ridiculous amounts of anxiety and torture and fear and doubt over things that are not in evidence. And I don't know why. And it could be chemistry. But what I'm telling you is like, if you just take a minute to pop this stack and you say to yourself, whatever I'm feeling right now, I can find a temporary respite from that to be able to step away from thinking that I am that emotion or I am that physical sensation. I can just experience that and look at it without judgment. This does not have to be meditation, but just take that step away. And if you just do that for fucking 5 seconds, you feel so different. You really can feel so different and go, you know what? I think today I'm tired of making myself feel bad about things, and I'm just going to take a little bit of a step back. And like, it's really weird. It's almost like an out of body experience. I think it's virtually impossible to do all the time, especially with my chemistry. But Jesus fucking Christ, is it handy to remember that sometimes.
Something you said back when you were Merlin Mann on your productivity podcast, Back to Work with Dan Benjamin. My favorite episode of the podcast is it's called Giant Beholder Dinosaur, and it's about cleaning. It's sort of about like organizing and cleaning and collecting things, and you know, it's sort of in that vein. Mm-hmm. And you had a great riff on that episode that I think about all the time, which is you can get yourself into a place where like if you don't clean your refrigerator for a long time, you now become scared of your refrigerator, and now it's like not only is the refrigerator messy, but you're like scared to deal with the messiness, and you work yourself into this like anxiety about even confronting the problem. Yep. And I think about that all the time, about being scared of my mailbox, being scared of my refrigerator, being scared of my office supply drawer, and that's literally what it is. It's like I literally can't even begin to solve the problem because I've let it get so bad that it's intimidating. And sometimes I'll find that willpower to be like, okay, today's the day I deal with this, and open up that freezer drawer and like throw stuff out or whatever. But it's just
a fucking freezer. But now think about also, I mean, let's take it to its logical conclusion, which is that okay, at a certain point now, time has passed, and now that is about so much more than your refrigerator in at least 2 ways. In a very important primary way, that is now you. You are that refrigerator now. You are that broken thing that you don't want to deal with. And that is way different from having old celery. But the second thing on a practical level is now that can have knock-on effects in the way that you think, behave, decide, do, perceive. So like, okay, on the one hand, maybe you want to eat healthier. I don't want to buy like fucking $300 in groceries because I got to open that refrigerator. I'm not going to have a party. I'm not going to have people over to my house, right? Like these things are real. This will start. And now as you're turning it over in your mind, and it's just this like big bubblegum and hair wad, just like rolling through your life, Katamariing up all the decent stuff in your life and turning it into shit, because that's what will happen. I did that yesterday. I cleaned out our refrigerator and our freezer yesterday. It took about 8 minutes. The hardest part was walking it down to the trash. But like, I like our refrigerator. It sounds dumb. Like, white guy problems. I like our refrigerator so much more now that I got rid of some fish sticks. Half a box of fish sticks I felt bad about throwing away 6 months ago.
Do you have one, for me, it's like one thing is laundry, because I'm bad at folding laundry. And then you're right. I become the giant pile of clean laundry that slowly becomes dusty and gross.
Tell me about your laundry procedure.
Oh God. Well, the procedure that I try ideally to it, because I wear the same clothes every week. Like you said, I've got the A game of clothes. And then once a week, every Sunday, I clean it, or I'm so lucky. I have washing machine in my house now. Do the laundry, and then I'm like, okay, this is my 3 hours. Gonna do the laundry, gonna listen to podcasts, and then it's done. But then I get distracted, and someone's like, come do a thing, or my cats are being cute, and then the entire week, every night, I'm picking out what I'm going to wear the next day from the laundry basket. And that happens at least 3 times a month.
So even when I in my last apartment, like even when I had a washing machine, I lived alone. I would often just take all my laundry to a laundromat, and you can just pay them by the pound to like wash and fold. Because
You know what?
Because honestly,
Holy shit.
Because honestly, and I would do it on the way to work or whatever. Because honestly, I was doing the same thing, and I was like, I should not be wearing dirty clothes out of the laundry for weeks at a time because I cannot find 2 or 3 hours to do the laundry.
Okay, to be clear, I'm not wearing dirty laundry, guys. It's just the laundry.
No, you
it's
wash it in the
clean
hotel room
laundry,
sink.
and
The laundry is you.
I'm the yeah, and you know what? I'm going to go and just bite the bullet and do the like 7 pounds of laundry.
You can also there's like
I'm
startups,
just-
and you can have an office Hagrid come to your house.
I tried that. It
some
was
sort of
weird. It was super
gig
weird.
economy surf, and
It
then they
was
all have
so
some
weird.
They all have
No,
some
it's
gimmick,
so
like they bring
weird.
you a fucking cookie when you're done or
yeah,
something.
it's so weird. They
Ugh.
brought me a mint, Max. I'm like, what am
Yeah.
I supposed
No,
to
don't do
do?
that.
This?
They all
Don't-
have a gimmick,
No.
and then there was a great fuck. All right, I'll put it in the show notes. There's an incredible article about a startup which I think already went under called Washio.
Yep, that was
And-
it.
And it was like, and basically like it was
They
their
were
struggle,
bad.
and it was
They-
their struggle.
Well,
to,
they were bad.
Yeah,
I hear they lost laundry a lot.
They're
Yeah.
No, they lost it like a lot.
basically their struggle was like just trying to define themselves in a world of every bro in Silicon Valley feeling like the biggest problem in the world was that their mom wasn't around to fold their laundry. So there were like 100 identical companies, and they were like, one company started offering a cookie when they dropped the laundry off. So then the next one had to offer an organic juice, and then the next one had like an organic juice, but it was made from local vegetables, and it was just a hilarious like game of stupid one-upsmanship of like all these people who couldn't think of a single better problem to solve than having your laundry folded.
I think it's an excellent problem to solve, but if I were saying for the sake of argument, another problem would be that it turns out there's one startup that's a wash startup, and they utilize a different gig economy startup to do the delivery. And they can't do things like coordinate doing 2 bags instead of 1, because guess what? They always lose a second bag. I'm just saying, you got to build up for scale. I think what you can do in that case is find a reliable place. Like, is it mostly clothes, or are we talking about towels and sheets?
No, well, see, and that's the thing. We always have tons of clean towels and sheets because that's an easy. That's just
That you
1,
just throw
2,
that stuff
3
in. That's easy.
Fold, and it's wash it on hot, dry it on hot, all good to go. And honestly, most of my clothes are that way. It's just I can't fold T-shirts. I can't. But then Washio lost my mystery show T-shirt, and I'm never gonna
no.
get that back. I know it was the Jake Gyllenhaal one. It was real good. Anyway.
My washing machine broke, and
Oh.
the guy,
Oh, no.
and so the guy said yesterday that Veronica and I were pretty sure that it was like a broken gasket or something because water was going everywhere. And so the guy was supposed to come yesterday between 9 and 11, and I was supposed to be at City Hall at 11. Or he was supposed to be between 8 and 11. And I was supposed to be at City Hall at 11, and I sort of rolled the dice. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it all on black and guess that he comes within the early part of that window, and I'll be able to leave early enough to get to City Hall. Well, sure enough, it's 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30. No call. I don't hear from him. And it's starting to creep up towards 11, so I called and pushed back my thing to 11:30 and pushed it back to noon again. And then eventually 11 came and went, and he hadn't called. So I just left and went to City Hall, doing my business, doing battle with the clerk at Business Affairs at City Hall, engaged in some sort of, verbal fencing match where we're pushing paperwork back and forth at each other, and I'm trying to win the day with a witty remark. And my phone rings, and it's the guy, and he's like, "I'm here. Where are you? I'm here to fix your washing machine." And I can't deal with this. I'm in City Hall, exchanging bon mots with the clerk at the Business Affairs desk. So I called Kara, and I was like, "Kara, I need you to run to my house and take a key and let the washing machine guy in." And she's like, "Okay, I'll do it." So then he calls me back 5 minutes later, and he's like, "You're not here. I'm going to leave." And I was like, you're hours late. Would you fucking wait there for my assistant to come in and let you in? So Kara lets him in, and then I wind up back at the office, like, I want to say, like, 20 minutes after this all goes down. So, like, not long afterwards. And Kara's already back. And I'm like, uh-oh, like, that... If he stayed and fixed my washing machine, she would not be back at the office by now. And basically what happened was Kara was like, yeah, the guy took one look at your washing machine and said, it's way more broken than a gasket. It's probably going to be cheaper to get a new washing machine than to try and fix this one. And also, he said he really liked your art. I was like, oh, that was nice.
Well, it's little things.
Don't comment on the art if you go into someone's
No.
house.
Don't give me a cookie. Don't give me a juice. I don't want to talk about my laundry.
Hey, Alex, would you get a chip?
Would I get a chip?
A chip? A microchip? You know how some companies are giving their employees microchips?
Oh, yes, 100%.
You would get one?
100%.
I saw that
yes.
story and I was like, I don't think this would go over well in our company, except Alex would probably be into it.
I am so down with it. I immediately saw that. And you were also talking about how you wanted you were upset because the Roombas now are going to like map people's houses and like sell
very
them.
creepy.
I don't think it's going to happen, but two, since I rent, like all of that information is on Zillow anyway. Don't be creepy, please. But it really doesn't matter. But Merlin, did you see this? You put a little microchip in, and then you can buy stuff. Man, think about how much Nick would love that. How easy expenses would be. Oh, it'd be great.
If there was a microchip implant I could get that would do the what do you call it? The thing. What opens the doors? What is that? Is that a
Like a little fob type thing?
Yeah, but what technology is that?
Near field communication?
Is that what it is? It's a little
NFC?
It's a dongle, and you push it
Yeah.
up to the door thing, and it goes boop, and it opens the door. If I could get a little NFC chip in my arm that would open the doors in the office, so I didn't have to carry a key card around, and I never forgot it at my desk, I would strongly consider it.
Yeah.
Strongly consider it.
I feel better about using my iPhone than my body. Anything biometric bugs me just because if anything ever goes wrong, it's like the whole thing with using faces and eyes and all of that. Like you can't get new faces and eyes yet. Like that's kind of
exactly,
weird.
Marlon,
Like
exactly.
Well, what I've heard is like from security people is they finish wringing out their underwear in the sink and then they say actually biometrics should be used as the username, not the password.
Yeah, well, you just you.
We're
put
making
a
fun
chip-
of Cory Doctorow a lot on this podcast, although I agree with him on almost all of these things.
That's the thing. I would rather have a chip in my arm than use my fingerprint or my iris or whatever, because then you just cut out the chip if you're in you bite it out of your arm if you're in a bad situation.
Oh, like a
you don't think I've thought about this, Marlon?
like a William Gibson thing.
Yeah.
or like a cyanide tooth, right? Like if you're a Nazi and you got to kill yourself when you get captured, you just bite down on your tooth. Except you just foam with the mouth every time a door opens. Got your giant bean can cock.